A warm welcome to Diplomatic Channel. I'm Amarachi Ubani. Home, we're focused on bilateral ties, this time with Russia. 2 months ago, the new Nigerian ambassador to the Russian Federation, Professor Abdullahi Shehu, presented his letters of credence to President Vladimir Putin and resumed his duties. Since then, he's met with the Nigerians in Diaspora, Russia, during which he stressed the need for stronger collaboration towards actualizing the main foreign policy thrust of Nigeria, which is citizen diplomacy, and the embassy being a facilitating platform to provide assistance needed to attract more foreign direct investment to Nigeria through platforms such as NIDO Russia. He's also participated in the opening ceremony of the Russia Halal exhibition, where he inspected various pavilions of Russian, Turkish, and Belarusian products. And in the plenary session of the 7th Machine Building Cluster Forum, Big Challenges for Industry in the Digital Pandemic Era. We'll be talking more about Ambassador Shehu's work later in the program, as well as Nigeria-Russia relations. But first, a quick check on other discussions in diplomatic circles. Let's turn to other bilateral relations now, this time between Nigeria and China. In the last 2 months, the Nigerian embassy in Moscow has developed a strategic plan to strengthen institutional capacity, attract, promote and protect trade and investment of Nigeria's nationals in Russia and Belarus, and promote citizen diplomacy through effective and efficient immigration, consular, education, cultural and other services to Nigerians, among other things. Nigeria has also signed a military technical cooperation agreement with the Russian Federation, to which the Minister of Defense, Major General Bashir Salihi Magashi, and the Director of the Federal Service for Military Technical Cooperation, Dmitry Shugiev, both signed on behalf of Nigeria and Russia in Moscow. That agreement of military technical cooperation between the two countries provides a legal framework for the supply of military equipment, provision of after-sales services, training of personnel in respective educational establishments, and technological transfer, among others. Also, Russian-based leading oil company Lukoil has signed an agreement with Nigeria to expand its operations in the country. Under this agreement, the business interest partnership include funding of the Warri refinery and petrochemical company rehabilitation project, as well as expansion of Lukoil's gas power interests in Nigeria. Lukoil also announced plans to expand operations in Lagos. But to the man behind these bilateral ties, working behind the scenes, Professor Abdullahi Shehu Yebakwai, better known as Professor Abdullahi Shehu. He is on his first term as ambassador. Before his appointment as ambassador this year, he was Director General of the Intergovernmental Action Group Against Money Laundering in West Africa, GIABA for short. He speaks more about himself in my conversation with him. Joining me now is Professor Abdullahi Shehu, the Nigerian ambassador to the Russian Federation. Professor Shehu, thank you for joining me on Diplomatic Channel.
Thank you very much for this opportunity to speak to you at last.
Oh, indeed. It's been over 100 days you've been in this position as ambassador of Nigeria to Russia. So it is a pleasure speaking with you. And 100 days, what has that been like for your first ambassadorial appointment?
Well, as you know, Amarachi, prior to my appointment as ambassador to the Russian Federation with concurrent accreditation to the Republic of Belarus, I had worked in the Nigerian public service for over 3 decades. 27 years out of this was largely in the presidency. During this time, I was either leading or was part of one delegation or another to multilateral negotiations or to bilateral negotiations because of my schedule responsible for drugs and crime control and prevention. So with that experience, diplomacy and national service or home service, the line is very thin for me. During this time, you will recall that I was also seconded to work at the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime in Vienna from 2003 to 2005, and that is a multilateral environment. Upon my return to Nigeria, when I assumed duty briefly as a pioneer director in the EFCC, I got appointed as the pioneer director general of the ECOWAS Intergovernmental Action Group Against Money Laundering in West Africa, the specialized institution of ECOWAS that is referred to as JAWA. Now, that responsibility is almost at an ambassadorial level because I was relating with about 15 countries, 15 member countries of the ECOWAS, which later expanded to 17 countries when Sao Tome and Principe and one other country joined JAWA. So basically, I was doing diplomacy. However, now in Russia, the difference is that whilst I had worked with many countries at the same time, under this current appointment, I will be working with only 2 countries, but very large country. In fact, as you know, the Russian Federation is the largest country in the world by land mass. Yeah. And one of the superpowers of the world, and Belarus also is my country of accreditation. So it is with great excitement and enthusiasm that I arrive here as ambassador. Therefore, I give glory to God and I express my gratitude to His Excellency Muhammad Buhari, President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, for giving me the opportunity to serve in this privileged position as his special representative in the Russian Federation and the Republic of Belarus.
My conversation with Ambassador Shehu continues after the break. Stay with us. Let's backtrack to just about a few months ago when you were warmly received by officials of the Nigerian Embassy in Russia and by the Nigerian community, which I gather is pretty strong in Russia. What struck you the most about the contributions and works of the Nigerian community?
Well, as you are aware, citizens' diplomacy is one of the main thrusts of Nigeria's foreign policy. Therefore, we value and we concentrate on caring about the welfare of our citizens. On the day I arrived in Moscow, I was welcomed not only by the officials of the embassy, but by a delegation of the Nigerian community in Russia, led by the president. It was a warm welcome, but you must understand that I came at the work within the period of pandemic, and therefore we were restricted from other activities like welcoming ceremonies, the usual Nigerian cultural dances and other things, which they could have used to welcome me. But nevertheless, it was a warm welcome, an excellent reception. And thereafter, I engaged constructively with the Nigerian community here because I informed them that we are here for them. Their welfare is our priority. And what I have learned so far is that they have been working very closely with the embassy to try to promote the good image and strategic interests of Nigeria in Russia and Belarus.
Ambassador, yeah. What are some of the challenges that you find the most talked about from the community?
At the time I came, I met something like a division among the community, and therefore I felt that it was necessary for me to bring them together. And to the glory of God, I was able to meet with the so-called factions and explain to them why we should be our brothers' keepers and we should work together, because working together will give us a sense of collective security in order to promote our interests and our overall national interests in this country. That has succeeded largely. Now, you know that there is this Nigerian Diaspora organization. It's a very strong organization also here in Russia. And one of our priorities is to support the professionals that are doing well here in order for them to work with us in the embassy to promote businesses between Nigeria and Russia and Belarus. So they have been doing very well, and we have already taken up 1 or 2 projects with them that will help us to deepen the strategic partnership between our private sectors.
Speaking of partnerships, Ambassador, you led the signing of a legal framework agreement that would provide for Russia to supply Nigeria with military equipment and with training. It also provides for after-sales services, training of personnel in respective educational establishments and technology transfer. Explain to us, to bring to life what this new agreement is about.
You know that an agreement is a mutually beneficial piece of a framework. So it is not on the one side, it's on both sides that we stand to benefit here, they stand to benefit here. But as it is now, we are working on the necessary framework for the implementation of that agreement, meaning that our respective countries will have to set up the necessary working groups that will determine the modalities for cooperation, will identify the issues that we will be approaching each other with for help or for kind of technical assistance.
If I'm hearing you correctly, this is not Nigeria abandoning cooperation with other partners such as the US for weapons sales.
No, far from it. As I indicated after the signing of that agreement, Nigeria is not looking for alternative, but complementarity and mutual benefit. Where we think that our interests can be met, we will explore that possibility, and we have no restriction whatsoever. We keep on relating very well with our traditional partners with respect and mutual understanding, and we will also explore other ways by which we can secure what we want to secure in order to address our strategic problems back home, and for us also to be actively involved in international politics.
What has trade been like between Nigeria and Russia? I know that Russia was one of the early partners of Nigeria when she became independent in 1960, but it's been quite difficult following up with the bilaterals between the two countries. Can you tell us where we are at?
Well, you see, on that point, we need to understand a number of issues. First of all, when we think that relations between Nigeria and Russia have been low, we need to understand some historical realities. First being that, you know, Russia, ab initio, has not been a colonial power, and Russia is not interested in colonizing any country. And therefore, Russia did not colonize any African country per se. Therefore, there was no contact for a long time between Russia and Africa until after independence. So we must have to understand that this historical reality has molded our own pattern of relations with Russia. So to a large extent, as to the best of my recollection, as of 2001, the volume of trade was not more than $100 million between Nigeria and Russia. But over time, due to a number of factors which I cannot recall here, this has blossomed considerably. And as of today, our trade balance between Nigeria and Russia is about $500 million, which is quite a great improvement on our previous trade.
Right.
Of course, the trade balance has always been in favor of Russia because of the comparative advantage they have with respect to their specific exports to Nigeria, and also the fact that we are only exporting either raw materials or consumable products like cocoa, like gum arabic, etc., while they're exporting machinery and aluminum products. So basically, these are the factors that have shaped our relations. But most importantly, in October 2019, the first Russia-African summit was held in Sochi here in Russia. And our president, His Excellency Muhammadu Buhari, attended this summit and had a bilateral meeting with His Excellency President Vladimir Putin, and they agreed on a number of strategic issues which we are following up now. Since the holding of that summit, Russia's attitude, Russia's posture towards Africa has been positive and it has increased, and there is constructive engagement between Russia and African countries, particularly Nigeria, in areas that are strategic to us, which we are following through a joint commission. So to a large extent, we can say that the relationship is really, really impressive now. And I can tell you that we have scheduled a joint commission, a joint intergovernmental commission between Nigeria and Russia to be held at the end of October this year. And during that commission, we are going to review a number of bilateral agreements. We are going to review a number of commitments and declarations, which I believe will strengthen the bilateral relations.
Yes, Ambassador. Yes. And I'm sure that we will have plenty to talk about then, because I look forward to that conversation with you. Thank you again, Professor Abdullahi Shehu, for speaking with me on Diplomatic Channel.
Thank you very much, Amarachi. It's a pleasure talking to you this day.
This is where we end the program today. As always, you can reach me using any of the addresses showing on your screen. I'm Amarachi Ubana. I'll see you next time.